What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Ethereum today, ETH, USD. It is the 6th day of August, and here we are sitting at $1,900 with roughly 8 hours and 20 minutes left in the day. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here, and let's get into it. Okay, on a daily time frame right now, we can see that Ethereum is slowly rounding off its highs here, right? We are rounding off in this endeavor, and typically this kind of structure does result in a rather dramatic shift to the downside, right? Let's see if we can find an example of this actually. Kind of like this right here. The shift wasn't as dramatic, right? You did kind of round off here with your highs. That's not a dramatic shift. This was the dramatic shift, but that's a little bit delayed. It can happen delayed, obviously. That's right there, it happened, but like this right here, right? Rounding off, you can see the top rounding off, and maybe even more so over here, and then boom, sudden shift down. Overall, the delayed shift down right there, right? So these rounding endeavors on the top side do promote some downside action. Whenever the downside comes, it will likely be dramatic. It'll be a sudden turn of events like this, or a very persistent turn of events like that to the downside. And I suspect they'll move down, but what I'm not confident in is, do we move below this low or not? Because I am anticipating that Bitcoin goes below 60K again, that it probably even goes below 50K sometime later this month. In the event that that happens, in the event that we see a drop of that kind of magnitude, look at this on the daily time frame, right? September's over here. I'm expecting that we will be, below this by the end of the month. If we see some type of drop of this magnitude in Bitcoin, what might that promote with Ethereum? I would think that we'd see new lows, right? For a while, I was assuming that this was the bear market low for Ethereum for a good bit, going into most of July. But as we started to, that was a weird noise. I don't know if that picked up on the mic. That was weird. But in July here, where we should have continued to grow, where we were breaking out of this double bottom, this Adam and Eve double bottom here, we got held up. And now, again, we're turning the tide. We're rolling over these highs. So I don't know what to expect. Is this the low? It's a fine bear market low, in my opinion. We don't have to go lower. But if Bitcoin's dropping, I would assume that Ethereum drops with it, potentially even more than Bitcoin drops. If Bitcoin drops 20%, Ethereum is going to drop 25%, 30%, 40%, whatever the case may be. And that's pretty dramatic from here. We look at this on a weekly time frame. We'll get into the short-term stuff in a second, but I'm starting this one off talking about the long-term stuff instead. We look at a weekly time frame, maybe even a monthly time frame. And from a low, the low back in June of 2022, that bear market low, to the high here of August 2025, we've entered the golden ratio one time and we've come out of it like this. If we come back down, if we are to see lower lows, the next probable target area would be the 786, which is at about 1273, to potentially the 886. Now you can hit either of these lines and bounce off of either of these lines. You can do that exact thing, or you can find support somewhere in between them. So 1300, 1273, 1100, 1070, whatever. Somewhere in that range, that's where I think we're going to go, ultimately, by the end of either August or by the end of this year. Ethereum doesn't have to bottom at the same time as Bitcoin, and that's what makes this tricky. It's completely possible that here we found an overall double bottom. It's completely possible that Ethereum's bear market is over. We've seen already a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-legged pattern down, an impulsive wave count to the downside, what do they call that, a motive wave, impulse wave, whatever, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've seen it, and it matches up. It makes sense, but I'm just not convinced. The main worry here is my assumption that Bitcoin sees lower lows, and if it does see lower lows, then I would assume Ethereum goes with it, because from here, that's only a 21% drop. I say only, I mean, it's still pretty dramatic. But if Bitcoin goes below 50K, which I think it will, that is a greater than 20% drop. It's more, and I can't see Ethereum dropping less than Bitcoin. Maybe it does, I don't know. From a high to a low thus far, we've seen 69% of a drop. Bitcoin hasn't dropped that much. It hasn't dropped that much overall, so just kind of, an example there. Looking at the short-term stuff, 1 hour time frame here. Let's see. Looking at this. Volume's coming in a little bit here. You're getting volume to come in, but you're not getting higher highs. I don't like that. Yeah, it kind of looks like a bull flag, but it kind of doesn't at the same time. That's my cat. The RSI is phasing from an upward sloping trend to a downward sloping trend. You can kind of see it here. Higher lows, higher highs, right? All this kind of like shape overall. You're shifting into this lower low, lower high kind of dynamic here. Doesn't mean you can't break out of it. Doesn't mean you can't go higher, but I think this is the beginning of the downturn. We're seeing it in the price rolling over, right? Stochastics at the overbought zone. MACD looks bullish, to be fair. 4-hour time frame. Stochastics are in the overbought zone. RSI rejecting the overbought zone. That rejection wasn't too harsh, though. You are consolidating, which is nice. You are finding support at prior resistance, which is nice. Stochastics do look good. The MACD also looks good because it's crossing above the zero. You got a nice move with that, too. The 4-hour doesn't look that bad. The 4-hour gives me a little bit of hope here that I might be wrong. And if I'm wrong, great. If I'm right, whatever. I mean, maybe we move up a little bit more. Perhaps we do move up to like $40, $30 higher before moving lower. Maybe that happens. But I still am suspicious of this kind of rounding endeavor that it looks like we're seeing here. It's almost like a complex head and shoulders pattern. I don't know how to describe it. Can you see it? It's kind of like if this was the shoulder over here, the head, and then you got your shoulder over here, but it's like a box. I don't know. It's not a head and shoulders pattern. I wouldn't call it that. The volume is behaving the same. It is more of like a horizontal box. At any rate, we break through it. I would expect that sends us, that probably does propel us to prices that are near, if not below, $1,700. And that, again, assuming that this all corresponds with this kind of rounded top, should happen rather immediately. Should happen, I think, within the next 10 days. And then there will probably be more from there afterwards, right? But we'll see. Time will tell. I don't really have anything else to say. Daily RSI does look bearish. Stochastics are at a point of contention. The MACD is not bearish overall, but I could see it turning into a more bearish structure. And with everything else going on, I'm not optimistic, but time will tell. I've got nothing else for you, so I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe. What is it, man? There's something on Saturday. Something on Saturday with Bitcoin and the devs. I mean, it's Thursday now, man. We might see some chaos unlock here in the coming days. We really might see some chaos unlock in the coming days. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe everybody will sing Kumbaya and everything will be fine, but we'll see. Hit that like button. Take care. Bye-bye.